Bonus episode! Welcome to Talk Mental Health with Logan Noone. I wanted to post this episode today because this is really my favorite speech of all time. And also, most of my episodes are super long, and this one's going to be nice and short. Nice 5 minutes for you, maybe uplift your day. And I think the story of this speech is pretty hysterical. So this is 2013, okay? This is actually on my 24th birthday out in Sacramento, California at the NAMI fundraiser walk. And if you don't know what NAMI is, it's National Alliance on Mental Illness. You should look it up. They have a lot of great family resources as well as support groups. But this was a fundraiser, okay? Keep in mind, this was like my 5th speech that I had really ever done about my bipolar disorder. But my name was getting out there pretty quickly because of my YouTube post, okay? That little mini viral video. So I show up in the park that day to give my speech, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Log, the keynote speaker didn't show up, so is it cool if it's you?" I'm like, okay. Keep in mind, there was 1,500 people in the crowd. My speeches prior to that were 20, 30 people tops. So 1,500, and now I'm the keynote speaker. So my butthole right then was just straight puckered. Just straight, So I get up on stage, and I'm straight shaking, man. I am so scared. And then I deliver this speech. I don't know what happened. I probably straight blacked out. I didn't even look at my notes, and I delivered one of the greatest speeches I've ever done. Check it out.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good. Now, I cannot think of a better way to spend my 24th birthday than out here fighting mental illness stigma with the rest of you. Now, to really understand my philosophy around stigma and why I choose to completely ignore it, you have to understand my journey. So I didn't really start to have bipolar symptoms until I studied abroad in Scotland. All of a sudden, I started to have all these intrusive, obsessive, anxious thoughts. I couldn't get them to stop. I couldn't focus. I couldn't even sleep for about a year. I chose to self-medicate with alcohol. Now, as you know, if you do this, your mental health isn't going to get any better. So it just continues to get worse. I started to have suicidal images of me jumping off a cliff. These images frightened me so much that I was afraid to go to class some days because this classroom was located near these cliffs. So I continued to have my depression and mood swings throughout my entire junior and senior year of college, but I wasn't diagnosed with bipolar disorder until I had a full-blown manic episode. Now, once I was diagnosed, the doctors sold me on this need-to-know philosophy. They told me, you should only really tell the people that absolutely need to know. Everybody else, keep it on the DL. They told me people could discriminate against you. It could inhibit your career, your friends could treat you differently. It's better off just not really telling most people. So obviously, that's extremely isolating. I felt all alone. I felt like I didn't belong. I stopped taking care of my body just because I thought I was destined for a life that would end in suicide. I got up to 275 pounds and I hated myself. Around that time, my job transferred me from Worcester, Massachusetts, right out here to Sacramento, California. So I made a decision on that long drive over here with my dad. I can't live this life anymore. I can't live a happy, healthy life if I'm ashamed of my mental illness. So that's when I decided, you know what, I'm just going to tell my roommates, my brand new roommates. I met these guys off Craigslist. What do I got to lose? You know? To my surprise, they didn't care at all. They treated me the exact same way they treated all these other new roommates. So these roommates even motivated me to take it a step further and to meet other bipolar people in my area. And that's when I found Balanced. And that's when I found these peer-to-peer support groups. And that's when I learned that recovery is possible. And so once I learned this lesson, I was able to learn from my peers different coping mechanisms and how I could apply them to my life. That's when I started taking care of my body again. I started working out and eating right. I ended up losing 85 pounds, and I'm 190 now. That's what led me to be hired onto the Placer County Speakers Bureau. And I gave my first speech at Sierra College in Rockland, California, speaking out against mental illness stigma. Now, after I did that, I felt like the biggest phony. Now, because most of my friends who lived all on the East Coast, who I met throughout high school and college, had no idea that I was bipolar. So that's what led me to make that YouTube video. That same YouTube video allowed me to connect with old friends about their mental health experiences, as well as connect with people all over the world about their mental health issues. It's that same video that leads me to this stage today. Now, I don't want you to think this journey has just been picture perfect. I've, of course, experienced some of this stigma that I'm supposed to be so terrified of. People told me, mental illness isn't real. People told me, don't take your meds, you're just going to turn into a zombie. And my personal favorite, you don't seem bipolar at all, you're not violent. I could stand up here all day and tell you different examples of stigma. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Stigma exists. Stigma is created by generations and generations of misconceptions, misunderstandings, and lies. Now, the mental illness community, we didn't create the stigma, but it is our responsibility to fix it. I choose to fight stigma because it makes me happy. It makes me feel like I actually belong and I'm part of something bigger. But it's important to remember this. My voice can only be so loud, but the reach of a community voice is indefinite. So as we come together as a community, we can erase the stigma. As we step up, as we step together as one, we can repaint this poorly painted picture of mental illness in society. Thank you very much. I'm Logan Noone.
Thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate that. If you want to check out the video, you can head over to logannoone.com. That's Noone spelt like no one smushed together. Noone, baby. Dr. No One at your service. Once again, that's logannoone.com, and go under the public speaking services section and you can check out the video. And you can kind of see if I'm trembling with that straight puckered butthole I was talking about. But thanks again for listening. Please subscribe to this podcast, share it with your friends, give me that 5-star rating, baby! And once again, have a good day. I appreciate you listening.